Nearly 3 years. That's how long the world watched Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce build something that felt straight out of a movie. Then came the wedding. Photos leaked. Celebrities showed up. Headlines exploded. But here's the thing nobody talked about enough. The parts that actually mattered weren't the ones splashed across every tabloid. They were the quiet choices. The hidden traditions. The details that tell you exactly who these two people really are. And once you see them, this whole celebration looks completely different. For almost 2 years, everyone guessed about this night. Every guess was part right and mostly wrong. On July 3rd, inside a Madison Square Garden stripped of every camera and every possible leak, Taylor Swift walked toward Travis Kelce and became his wife. Fans found out the way everyone else did. In pieces. A short statement. A few photos that slipped out after the fact. Guests entered through a covered tent so no camera lens could catch a single frame. For a woman who has performed in front of the biggest crowds on the planet, this was the one night she performed for absolutely no one. And here's where it gets interesting. The man holding the ceremony together wasn't a priest. It was Adam Sandler. Stick around, because the reason makes more sense than you'd think. When Sandler pronounced them husband and wife, the arena didn't stay silent. Screens outside the building lit up pink with the words, "Just married." The Garden posted 3 words online that hit fans right in the chest: "It's a love story." A direct nod to the song that made her a superstar back in 2008. About 1,000 people witnessed it. Not one leaked the secret early. That kind of control, over a crowd that size, is almost unheard of. It tells you exactly how badly this couple wanted this moment to belong only to them. The guest list looked like an awards show. But the real surprise that night wasn't who showed up. It was what Taylor wore, and who she chose to stand beside her. For a decade, one question followed Taylor everywhere: what would she wear to her wedding? She guarded that secret with total discipline. When the truth came out, it came from Paris. Her dress was Christian Dior Haute Couture, designed by Jonathan Anderson, hand-built inside the legendary ateliers on Avenue Montaigne, the same address that has dressed royalty for generations. Fashion writers had spent weeks placing bets on which house would dress her. When the confirmation finally landed, there wasn't a single photo attached. Which only made everyone want it more. This was the first couture wedding dress this house had ever made for a global celebrity. Think about that. She wasn't picking a gown off a rack. She became a first. A name this fashion house will reference forever. Her shoes came from Christian Louboutin. Her jewelry, from Cartier. Travis wore the same house, tied to her in fabric before they were tied in vows. But the ring held the real story. Travis proposed with an old mine-cut diamond, an antique style with soft edges and a warm, candlelit glow that modern stones just can't replicate. He designed it himself with a goldsmith named Kindred Lubeck in New York. He didn't buy the obvious choice. He built something that looked like it had already lived 100 years. A strange, beautiful decision for a man marrying a woman obsessed with history and meaning. But the biggest surprise of the day wasn't stitched into fabric or set into gold. It was standing right beside the bride, in human form. Taylor built the most famous friend group in pop culture. For over a decade, we watched her surrounded by supermodels, actresses, singers. The internet called it the Squad. So naturally, everyone assumed her wedding party would be packed with A-list names. Then her team released a statement that stopped all the speculation cold. There were no bridesmaids. No groomsmen. Instead, her younger brother Austin Swift stood as her man of honor. Travis's older brother Jason Kelce stood as his best man. Read that again. A woman who could have had any celebrity on earth beside her looked at that entire glittering world and chose blood instead. Austin isn't just her brother. He's the person she's credited with helping her win back her master recordings in 2025, one of the defining fights of her career. He's worked behind the camera on some of her most beloved videos, including You Belong With Me and Mean. He sat with her during the Folklore Long Pond sessions, the raw, stripped-back film where she pulled her own songs apart in front of the world. Years earlier, when she released Evermore, Austin wrote publicly that as a brother and a friend, he couldn't be more proud, and as a lifelong fan, he was simply dumbfounded by her artistry. On the other side of the aisle, Jason meant just as much to Travis. The two host a podcast together. They built an entire empire out of brotherhood. And Travis had already stood as Jason's best man back in 2018. This wasn't just tradition. It was Travis returning a favor that ran bone deep. 2 brothers. 2 families. 0 celebrity politics. And the man chosen to officiate understood loyalty like that better than almost anyone in the room, because his bond with this couple had been quietly building for years. On paper, Adam Sandler marrying them sounds like a punchline. But once you know the backstory, it stops being funny and starts feeling inevitable. Sandler and Travis grew close filming the Happy Gilmore sequel, where Travis landed a cameo. Travis couldn't stop gushing about it afterward, calling the whole experience a dream come true. Sandler felt the same way, telling Entertainment Tonight that Travis reminded him of the friends he grew up with, calling him a stud and a great human being. That's not celebrity small talk. That's real affection. His connection to Taylor runs even deeper, through his 2 daughters. Sadie and Sonny Sandler are massive fans. Their dad took them to see the Eras Tour film, where the whole family met her. Sandler has admitted, with total honesty, that he still gets nervous around Taylor, just because he doesn't want to embarrass himself in front of his kids. He's compared her career to the Beatles. His favorite song of hers is The Best Day, a tender track about family that fits this whole story almost too perfectly. So when this couple needed someone to hold the most important night of their lives, they didn't hire a stranger. They chose someone who already felt like family. And when those doors finally opened, the guest list revealed exactly who mattered to Taylor now, and just as loudly, who didn't anymore. Selena Gomez arrived glowing. Gigi Hadid and Bradley Cooper came together. Hugh Grant brought his wife. Ethan Hawke, Dakota Johnson, and Jason Sudeikis were all photographed heading in. Country music showed up in force, with Miranda Lambert, Kelsea Ballerini, and Brad Paisley among them. Sports broadcasters, quarterbacks, tight ends, and a wave of Kelsey's teammates rounded out the crowd. One detail stuck with people. Guests were told, no gifts. Taylor and Travis wanted nothing, because they already had each other, and that was the entire point. But the absences said just as much as the arrivals. Harry Styles, a former flame of Taylor's, was performing in London that night. Far more telling was who was missing entirely. Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, once one of Taylor's closest bonds, were reportedly left off the list, tied to the fallout from Blake's legal battle where Taylor's own name kept surfacing. And then there was Karlie Kloss, once practically Taylor's shadow, who had drifted into years of cold silence. She showed up anyway. A quiet sign that even after years of distance, some doors can still open again. Now imagine trying to keep this many famous people safe and comfortable, during a heat wave the government literally called deadly. The couple filed permits to shut down the streets around Madison Square Garden for 3 full days. New York City, one of the hardest cities on earth to control, bent itself around one wedding. Then nature tried to crash the party. The National Weather Service warned the heat index could hit 115 degrees, dangerous enough to be deadly without proper cooling. So the couple had portable air conditioning units wheeled straight into the arena while the city baked outside. The whole event reportedly cost more than $20 million, with security eating up a massive share of that number. The night before, they gathered about 100 close friends and family for a rehearsal dinner inside the same building, decorated with soft peach blooms and greenery. Taylor brought in one of her favorite New York restaurants to cater it. Around town, other famous faces kept getting spotted, from Ed Sheeran upstate to Sabrina Carpenter in the West Village. And rumors swirled that music equipment belonging to Bon Jovi rolled into the venue, with whispers that Stevie Nicks and Tim McGraw might even take the stage. Every piece of this wedding was planned down to the smallest thread, which is exactly why the date wasn't random. Taylor has openly said she loves numerology, loves dates, finds that stuff genuinely fun. So fans turned into detectives the moment the engagement broke, convinced the date would carry hidden meaning. They were right about the obsession and wrong about almost every specific guess, which is exactly how she likes it. The engagement itself, announced back in August 2025, came with a caption that made millions laugh: "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." That single post pulled in over 37 million likes. Choosing July 3rd, the night before America's biggest summer holiday, put the entire country's attention on them at once. Not everyone loved that. Some people online complained about the street closures and the cost. But here's the twist almost nobody caught. On the exact same day Taylor married Travis, the Kelce brothers released a podcast episode featuring Prince William as their guest. A future king and the biggest pop star alive, orbiting the same family, on the same day. That's the world these two now live in. And yet, when the actual moment came, they stripped all of that away. No bridesmaids pulled from a magazine cover. No broadcast beamed out to the world. Just two brothers, two families, an old friend to marry them, and a diamond designed to look 100 years old. For all the money and all the fame, the most powerful choice Taylor Swift made on her wedding day was the quiet decision to keep it small, and make it entirely hers.